For the past couple of weeks, we've been looking at ways that the defenders can communicate with each other. You know that you cannot be on your phone telling your partner what you have. You know when you're in the actual room, you cannot be showing frowns or smiles or any kind of signals of any type. You cannot talk verbally aloud to each other. However, you do have a way to communicate with your partner what you have in your hand. You have three very important defensive signals that you can use. To date, we have looked at the attitude and the count. Today, we're going to focus on the suit preference. So let's just go back to attitude. Attitude is the first signal that everybody learns. All of you are using it. Bridge 101, attitude signal. This is when your partner leads a suit. If you like what she has, you have something in the suit, you wish her to continue leading that suit, you play an unnecessarily high one. You play like the 7 or the 8 or whatever you got to tell her, I like what you led, come on with it. Attitude, I like. If you don't have anything in the suit she's led, you play the lowest one you have, saying, you can come on with the suit, but I'm telling you, I don't have anything in the suit. So attitude is very, very basic, very, very basic, important signal. I like what you led, partner, come on. I don't like what you had. By the size of the card that you played, trick 1. Okay, that's basically the attitude signal. We did look at a few variations of it, but I think that you all do a very good job from what I noticed and what I'm aware of in your play, that you're doing a very good job using the attitude signal. Now, last week, we looked at the count signal, the second very important signal. I think you probably don't use this one as much as you should, maybe because you're just not as familiar with it, and we looked at it quite detailed last week. The count signal is used exclusively by the defenders to tell each other how many cards they have in a suit that is being led by the declarer. In attitude signal, the defenders are leading and they're telling each other whether they like what was led or not. The declarer has no reason to ever use an attitude signal. She doesn't care whether you like what she led or not. She's the declarer. So the attitude only is for the defenders to use. The count signal is when the declarer is leading. She's leading a suit other than the trump suit. You and your partner want to give each other count when she leads a plain suit. We call them a plain suit, not the trump suit. So you tell each other, if you play a high card, you're saying you have an even number of cards in that suit that the declarer has led. You play a low card, you're saying that you have an odd number of cards in that suit. That's all it is. It can be very extremely important, and we looked at one time that it is so important. That's when a dummy comes down and it has a long suit, but there are no outside entries. And you want to tell your partner when it's safe for her to take her, she has the ace of the suit. If you go back and look at that one hand on no trump, depending on when your partner took the ace, would have made a difference of whether the declarer made 11 tricks, 9 tricks, or she actually went set. So the count signal is so very important, particularly when there is a dummy that has a long suit and no outside entries. You want to tell your partner how many cards you have. You have an even number, you play a high card. If you have an odd number, you play a low card. There is one time, however, though, when the defenders lead, that the partner does give count. And that is specifically, and I want you all to get in the habit of doing this, if your partner leads the king of any suit, she is asking you to give count. So a low card would say, I have an odd number. A high card would say, I have an even number in the suit you've led. But all the other times, it's the declarer that is leading a suit, and you, the defenders, give each other count. So attitude is only used by the defenders to tell each other whether you like or dislike what was led. The count signal primarily it's only used by the defenders. 2 situations. Most of the time, it's going to be when the declarer is leading a suit. The one time when the defenders are leading a suit is if your partner specifically leads the king. Now you want to give count. The reason for that is if she doesn't know whether she can cash her other big card or not. If she knows how many cards you got, she may know that it is safe to cash her a big one. Okay, today we're going to look at the third one. The third one is the suit preference. Let me just bring that up.
Hey, Carol, I have a quick question.
Yes,
You say that's when your partner leads the king, that's only if that's an opening lead or the first time that suit is led, is that
first time
correct?
that suit is led. Anytime the king's led, your partner presumably either has the queen or she has the ace. That's correct. Thank you, Chuck, for clarification. Okay, this third one is the suit preference. My guess is that you don't use this one very much. And the reason why you don't use this one very much is because, oh, well, that's too complicated. I can't understand that. No, I can't get this. I'm just going to do the attitude. I'm going to try to do the count. And I'm not going to worry with suit preference. I think after I get through today's class, you're going to see that probably the most valuable one of these signals is the suit preference. As those 13 cards are being played, the suit preference comes in many, many times, and it will help your partner to know what to switch to, whether to come on, whatever. And I think once I get through discussing it today, you're not ever going to feel like, oh, why didn't I know about this before? I think you're going to feel very comfortable in using it and looking for it in the hands that you play. Now, before I come into the content, I want to go back to 101, Bridge 101. We have 4 suits. The 4 suits are spades, hearts, diamonds, and clubs. The spades outrank hearts, diamonds, and clubs. We all know this. Hearts outranks diamonds and clubs. Diamonds outranks clubs. Poor old clubs sitting down at the bottom. So that we have the 4 suits. So we're talking about suit preference. So the suit thing comes in where you have one of the 4 suits, either spades, hearts, diamonds, or clubs. Preference means which one do you prefer that I lead, partner? And we're going to find out how to know that by what we go through today. So I want to come on down to the first example. And I want everybody to look at South's hand. South is the opening bidder, bids a spade. You have a nice spade suit there, 13 high card points, 6 card suit, you would open a spade. Now, I think in the bidding of today's times that West would probably stick in a 2 no trumps showing the minors. But for the sake of poor Carol, as an illustration, let's say that West does not bid 2 no trump. North has 12 points, has a lovely 5 card solid heart suit, also has spade support. She wants to let her partner know right away, we are going to be going to game, partner. She makes the 2/1, 2 heart bid. South immediately knows we're going to game somewhere. South also has 3 hearts. She knows for sure that her partner has 5 hearts to have made that bid. So it comes back to her. She has the choice of rebidding her 6 card spade suit, or she could actually raise the hearts. Some people would bid 2 spades. In the example, I did have her rebid 2 spades to show 6. Some people would say, why don't you just bid 3 hearts and let your partner know that you have the heart bid? Whichever is fine. But whatever bidding system they use, they get to 4 spades. The final contract is 4 spades. Your partner West leads the 3 of hearts. The dummy comes down, and as suspected, you see the 5 hearts sitting there. East has 4 hearts. She knows she can take the first trick. She figures out that your 3 of hearts has to be a singleton, because she's looking at 9 of them. And the 3, by the size of that card, if you had a doubleton, you would have let her higher one. You led the 3. So it's more than likely a singleton. She takes the ace of hearts. Now she wants to give you a ruff. The size of the heart that she leads back is suit preference. Suit preference, you discount the trump suit. In this case, it's spades. You discount the suit that is being led, which is hearts. There are 2 remaining suits, diamonds and clubs. Diamonds outrank clubs on the totem pole. East can lead either the 10 of hearts, the 8 of hearts, or the 2 of hearts for the ruff. But what she wants to do is to tell her partner, to tell West, how you can get back to me, partner, for another ruff. She has the ace of diamonds. So the heart that she should lead back at trick 2 is the 10 of hearts. The 10 of hearts is suit preference for saying, partner, you can get me in with a diamond. So she leads the 10 of hearts, her partner trumps. Partner's awake over there, leads a diamond back. Doesn't matter which one she leads, probably lead the 10 of diamonds. You take your ace of diamonds east, and now you give her another ruff. Bing, 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 4 tricks are already in, and declare south is already set. Now let's say that east had had the ace of clubs rather than the ace of diamonds. Which heart would she have led back for her partner to trump? The 2 of hearts. That would be suit preference for clubs. So suit preference, when you're doing suit preference, you disregard the trump suit. In this case, the trump suit is spades. You disregard the suit your partner has led. That would be hearts. You have 2 suits left. One of them is higher ranked than the other. In this case, it's diamonds. It outranks clubs. East takes the ace of hearts. By the size of the card she leads back of the heart, she's telling her partner which of the 2 suits she prefers, suit preference, for you to return, West. So she leads the 10 of hearts. She has the ace of diamonds. She leads the 10 of hearts. You ruff it. You lead a diamond to her ace, and she gives you another ruff, and the hand goes down. That's suit preference. You just have to recognize it. Now, it's a little bit harder. It's easier when you have a suit contract. It's a little more difficult when you have a no trump contract. So let's come down to the second hand. Everybody look at South's hand. South has 17 nice points, balanced hand. Everybody in here would open 1 no trump with that hand. Certainly West is not going to make a bid. Looking at North's hand, North has 6 diamonds to the king, queen, jack. She has 8 points. Without even thinking, I would bid 3 no trump with that. You don't need to make just 1 no trump, 3 no trump. West determines to lead her longest and strongest, 4th best, so she leads the 3 of spades. 3 of spades are 8 out. The rule of 11 that we know about. All right, so looking at the dummy, East sees 2, and she has the ace. So she knows that the South hand has 3 cards higher than the one that your partner led. So your partner leads the 3. I don't know what's coming out of the dummy, maybe the 9 or the 8, but you're certainly going to play the ace. You're not going to hold your ace up. You lead your 4 back. South, at this point, she could take it with the king, but she doesn't want to. She plays the jack. West takes the queen. Now, you see that West has 3 cards left, any one of which will knock out South's stopper. West knows that South still has the king of spades. If she leads the 10, it knocks the king out. If she leads the 7, it knocks it out. If she leads the 2, it knocks it out. By the size of the card that West leads to knock out that king of spades, she is giving suit preference to East to tell her where your entry is. I can't cash my little spades if you can't get me in so I can cash them. I first have to knock out the king of spades, declares king of spades. So she has the ace of hearts, a sure entry if she can get her partner to understand she has it. Now, she doesn't know she can get East in, but as you look at that hand, you see East has got that ace of diamonds. The first time diamonds is led, ace is popping up. Now, if East did not know where your entry is, she would have to guess between hearts. She has no more spades, so she can't lead your spade. She would have to guess whether to lead a heart or whether to lead a club to get you in. You tell her when you lead the 10 of spades back at trick 3, you are telling her that you're telling East that you have a heart entry. So when your partner gets in with the ace of diamonds, she comes back with a heart. Doesn't matter which one she leads. You get in with the ace, and now you are able to cash your 7 of spades and your 2 of spades, and you set the hand. Let's say that West maybe had the ace of clubs. Then instead of leading the 10 back, 10 of spades, she would have led the 2 of spades back. And that would tell East, hey, partner, I have an entry in the club suit. Should you get in, you can get to me in a club with a club. So you see, it's maybe not quite as easy which suit preference we're talking about here. But of course, East is going to know because she sees all those diamonds sitting up there on the board. So it's either going to be hearts or clubs. So do you see that by any card that West leads at trick 3, it's going to knock out the king of spades? So she wants to tell you how she wants to tell East how to get back to her. She has the heart entry, so she should play the 10 of spades to knock out that king. Do you all see that? Okay. Now I want to come down and look at another situation where suit preference really comes into play. And that is when your partner leads and a singleton comes down on the board. Now, the attitude signal does not come into play. Even if your partner led the king, and you should give count. When a singleton comes down on the board at trick 1, disregard your attitude signal. If she's led the king, disregard giving the count. Now the suit preference takes priority over the other 2 signals that you've learned. You want to tell your partner what to switch to. Now remember, suit preference, you don't count the trump suit, you don't count the suit that's being led. There are 2 suits being left. So let's look at some, I have 3 examples that I want you to look at. All right, in this hand, the south hand is playing in a contract a slam of 6 diamonds. Your partner comes off leading the ace of hearts, revealing that there is a singleton in the dummy. Of course, you've got something in hearts, and normally if there would not be a singleton there, you would signal with give the attitude signal. But here the attitude signal is not in play anymore. You want to tell your partner what to switch for. Of course, you're dying for a spade lead. The trump suit is 6 diamonds. Your partner has led a heart. Of the 2 remaining suits, you have spades and you have clubs. What card should you play at trick 1 to tell your partner to switch to the spade? Play the jack of hearts. The jack of hearts, hoping she will realize that suit preference. She'll lead a spade, you trump it, and you set the contract. If you had perhaps avoiding clubs, you wanted her to shift to the club, you would have played the 2 of hearts. So do you see that when a singleton comes down on the opening lead, no longer does attitude or count come into play? You now need East to try to give a suit preference. The suit preference, again, you do not count the trump suit, you do not count the suit that is being led. It's which of the other 2 suits. By the size of the heart that she played the jack of hearts, she wants you, West, to come with a spade. And of course, that sets the hand. Now, I know some of these are contrived, but when you start looking for these situations, you'll be surprised how helpful it is and wondering why in the world did I not ever know about this suit preference? In this particular one, this example 2, your south is in 4, she is in 4 hearts. And your partner leads the king of clubs. Opening leads the king of clubs. So you know that your partner has the ace king to have led the king of clubs. You know that because you have the queen of clubs. Now, normally, if there had been 2 or 3 clubs in the dummy, you would have given an attitude signal. You would have either played the 10 or the 8. I would have played the 8 of clubs, saying, partner, I have something in clubs, come on. She led the king of clubs. Normally, you would give count. Again, you would play the 8 to say you have an even number. But you see when that singleton club comes down on the board, now attitude and count signal are out the door. They no longer have any priority. Suit preference now comes priority. So what are you wanting your partner to shift to? The other 2 suits? The other 2 suits would be spades and diamonds. Spades outrank diamonds. So the size of the club that you play, you're going to be giving suit preference to your partner. You definitely would absolutely love to stand up and scream, holler at your partner, please lead a diamond. How do you tell your partner? You can't do that, but how do you tell your partner to shift to the diamond? Is you play the 3 of clubs. And if she's watching for suit preference, you should always, when there's a singleton on the board, watch what your partner plays. She's going to try to tell you which of the other 2 suits she wants you to lead. So the other 2 suits in this example would be spades and would be diamonds. She plays the 3 of clubs, saying, partner, please shift to the diamond. And how nice is that? You have the ace queen sitting over the king jack. Now, let's say that she had the king, jack of spades. Let's just say things were reversed and she wants you to come with the spade. Then she probably would have played the 10 of clubs saying shift to the spade. But in the example that I have here, you definitely want the diamond shift. So suit preference is so valuable particularly when a singleton comes down in the dummy. You know, what I've often thought is all the things that are available to the defenders and all the gadgets that you have and all of this arsenal of information you have, you ought to really feel pity for the declarer. But I'm sure you never feel that way. You feel she has the upper hand, but you have more of an upper hand than you realize if you utilize all of these tools that I've been teaching you. All right. I want to come down to one further situation. I don't ever use examples of hands that I played, but I played this one a week ago, about a month ago, in the Jefferson Plus game. I held the East hand. The declarer was playing in a 4-spade contract. My partner led the ace of diamonds. For whatever reason, this person led the ace of diamonds. I think probably it was a doubleton, ace doubleton, and probably was hoping, maybe to get a ruff. Led the ace of diamonds. Down comes the dummy, and look there, the king, queen, jack of diamonds, all set up for declarer discards. If ever a suit preference signal ought to be given, it is, we better get whatever we're going to get, partner, before stuff goes away on the king, queen, jack of diamonds. Now, the lead was unfortunate, but what I did was I played the 7 of diamonds, hoping that she would take that for suit preference. The contract is 4 spades, so you don't count spades. She has led a diamond, so you don't count diamonds. So the other 2 suits would be hearts and clubs. I played the 7 of diamonds, trying to tell my partner, please switch to a heart. You see, I've got that ace jack behind the king 10. She did not pick up the suit preference, and I'm not criticizing her. So yeah, this is just to make a point. I'm certainly not criticizing her. This is just for illustrative purposes. I played the 7 of diamonds, hoping she would switch to the heart. She did not. She came on with a club. When the dust had settled, the defender had made 5 tricks. He had made 5 spades is what he had made. He got a top board. Had she switched to the heart, she happened to have held the queen 10 of hearts. Man, if she comes off either leading to the queen or 10 of hearts, we're going to get at least 2 heart tricks. I'm going to get my ace of spades, and we already have the ace of diamonds. I think there was a possibility if she had shifted to the heart that we would have set the contract 2 tricks and we would have gotten the 100%. So here's an example. It maybe doesn't come up too often, but if the opening lead and then the dummy comes down and there are a lot of discard possibilities for the declarer, then that's the time when you want to try to tell your partner by suit preference. I tried to tell her by playing the 7 of diamonds, partner, please switch right now to the heart. And had she done so, we would have set the hand. Again, I am not criticizing her in any way. This is just for you to see. This is another example of when suit preference. There are many times suit preference comes into play, but I think for now, these are the ones, particularly if there's a singleton, particularly if your partner has led a singleton and you want to get back to her, you want to tell her how to get back to you for a subsequent ruff. So look at these, be thinking about them, looking at them at the hands and that you play. I want you to start becoming very familiar, very comfortable using suit preference. And I think once you use attitude, count, and suit preference, we need to send a sympathy card to the declarer. She's not going to have a chance to make any hand at all until I give all the lessons on declarer play on how you actually beat these defenders doing all this funny stuff that I have been teaching you. All right, I want to come down now and look at one further hand, which illustrates suit preference. South opens one of those pesky 3 heart opening bids. West says, well, I'm not going to settle for that. Does a takeout double. And North goes all the way to 4 hearts, and that's where it passes out. West leads the king of spades. You remember from 2 weeks ago, one of the attitude signals was that of if you held specifically the queen jack and your partner has led either the ace or king, you can tell your partner by playing the queen that she can safely underlead her other big card, that either you have the jack or you'll be able to trump the next trick. So you see here, I'm trying to weave in from a couple of lessons ago, when you hold the queen jack and your partner has led a big, either the ace or the king, you play the queen, it tells your partner, you can underlead your other big card, I have the jack, or else I'm going to be trumping. Okay, so West is now going to underlead her big, I think I had her lead, let's see, let me come down and see what I had actually. Probably I had her lead the king. Okay, I had her lead the king of spades. She will now underlead her spade to get to your jack. By the size of the card that she leads, she's going to tell you what to shift to. Now remember, hearts are trumps, so you discount that. Your partner's led a spade, you discount that. So when your partner is going to lead either the 8 or the 5 to get to you, if she leads the 8, she's telling you to come back with a diamond. If she leads the small one, she is telling you to come back with a club. So which one do you want her to come back with? You want her, when she gets in with a jack of hearts, you want her to shift to the club, don't you? To come through whatever declares got. You suspect that Declara does have the king for her bid. Well, you don't know for sure. If your partner's got the king, it doesn't matter anyway. So you lead the 5 of spades to get to your partner's jack. Presumably your partner will read that as suit preference for a shift to the club. And she'll lead either probably lead the 10 of clubs. And you're going to set the hand. So another time that the suit preference comes into play would be when you have the queen jack and you tell your partner that she can underlead her other big card to get to your jack. This is the time for you to give suit preference. So there are all kinds of situations where you can give the suit preference that you never even dreamed of. This is another example. All right, I want to move next to look at 2 or 3 card combinations. I hope these card combinations are becoming helpful to you. Basically, when you see a certain combination, you know immediately, bing, 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 this is how you play it. This is best chance to make the most trick. So here we want to make the most tricks, maximum tricks we can. In hand 1, you have the ace third opposite the queen jack third. You're always going to take 2 tricks. There's no way, falling off logs, you can't take 2 tricks. You can take 3 if you lay down the ace of clubs, or let's say it's clubs, and the singleton king falls. If you are in desperation to get all 3 tricks, the only play to get all 3 tricks would be to lay down the ace, and hopefully the 2 to 3% chance you have of the singleton king falling will happen for you. It's never happened for me, and I doubt if it's ever going to happen for you. Bob Schulman, our statistician, he could tell you the probability, the odds of a singleton king falling with this particular kind of combination. So basically, you're going to take 2 tricks, no matter how you play it. You're going to get the ace, and you're going to get either the queen or the jack. And you say, well, what is the purpose of this, Carol? Okay, the purpose of this is, if you are in a no-trump contract, and you need 2 more tricks, and you cannot afford to let the opponents in, maybe they have a suit that's ready to run, they're going to cash all of them, and they're going to set you, then you should lead the queen of clubs and let it ride, hoping that the king is over to your left. If it's not, then there's no way you could ever make this hand anyway. But you want to give yourself a chance. The only chance, if you need 2 more tricks and you cannot afford to let the opponents in, you should leave the queen and let it ride. But normally from this combination, you should expect to get only 3 tricks. But let's say you need all 3 of them. If you need all 3 of them, then the only play you have is to lay down the ace and hope that Schumann's right, that the 2% chance that king falling, that it falls. I don't think that that's going to help you make the slam if that's the case. All right, I want to look at this next one. You have the ace third opposite the queen third. The only way that you can take 2 tricks with this suit is to lay down the ace, cash the ace, and lead towards your queen, hoping that the king would be over to your right. You will never, ever win by leading the queen out of your hand. It will not win the trick. I can guarantee you, when I first started learning bridge and I was playing with my husband, Bob, in a tournament or some game we were playing in, regular club game, I led the queen. I never did that again. You're never winning a trick leading the queen out of your hand. The only way that you can win a trick with the queen, cash the ace and lead towards your queen. Unless you play the ace and that singleton king falls, but I don't think that's happening there. All right, this one looks kind of pathetic. And you're saying, well, there is no way in the world that I am going to possibly win a trick with this suit. But now you should never give up. Always give yourself a chance. And no matter how dismal the contract looks, if you have one chance and one chance only to make it, that's the way you play the hand. And lo and behold, about a third of the time it works. A lot for a third of the time that finesse works and you bring that contract home. This one is looking kind of dismal though, doesn't it? So you lead low from your hand. If West has both the ace king, you are going to win with the queen. But that's not likely. I would say over 50%, about 50% of the time, one big, either the ace is going to be in the left and the king's going to be in the right or whatever. You're going to be in split, in other words. So you lead a small one. Small one comes out of the West hand, play the 10 or the 9. Let's say, lucky you, it forces the king or the queen. Now you should know exactly where the jack is. If the East hand had the jack, he's certainly not going to be playing the king unless he misclicked. He's going to take it with the jack, isn't he? So you should know by now that the West hand has the jack. So you get back to your hand and you need to leave another low one. You should go ahead and put either the 10 or the 9, whichever one you've not played, and you are going to win at least one trick. You're either going to, he takes his jack and you play the queen, or he plays his king and now your queen becomes good. So no matter how pathetic the suit looks, always give yourself that chance. And here you do have a chance, remote as it may be, to take at least one trick. All right, I have your pop quiz for today. This came from Dorothy Hayden Truscott. I talked about her last week. Really one of the top women players of all times. South is in a contract of 3 hearts. West leads the king of spades. Now we talked about the count signal. When your partner leads the king, you want to give count. A small one, of course, a small spade is going to be played from north. East plays the 9. So she is starting an echo to say she has an even number. Now remember, you have to play maybe she has just a single 9. You don't know, but you have to play what you have. But she's trying to say she has an even number. So she plays the 9. You come on with the ace and she plays a small one, like maybe the 2 or whatever. And at that point, West should know that his partner has a doubleton and will be able to trump the 3rd spade. Now again, you have a chance for suit preference. West can lead either the 7 for the ruff or can lead the 2 for the ruff. West has the ace, jack 10 of clubs, the lower ranking of the 2 remaining suits. Remember, your partner led a spade, trumps the hearts, so the 2 remaining suits for suit preference would be diamonds and clubs. West has the clubs. She wants you to lead a club, so she should lead the 2 of spades to East to get the ruff. East, noticing that she led the 2 of clubs, should dutifully return the club through whatever declarer's got, probably the king, queen, or whatever, and you're probably going to get 2 club tricks out of it, more than likely. If, on the other hand, West had the same holding in diamonds that she has in clubs, she would have led the 7 of spades to get her ruff, and hopefully you would read that as suit preference, calling for a diamond lead. Okay, so suit preference is not so scary, is it? You see how valuable it can be to you. So I want you to try to get over the feeling of, oh, I won't understand that, I won't see that, I can't do this. Yes, you can. You just have to start. And I think you will pretty soon, in about a month, wonder why you were not ever playing suit preference. I do want to just toss out one further thing on suit preference. And this is not, I did not put it in the lesson, and I did that for purpose. And I learned this about a month ago. I did not know it. I was playing with John Markey in a game. I led the king of, I don't know, maybe spades. Let's say I led the king of spades. He played a small one, which told me he had an odd number. I came on with my second big one. And this time, I believe he played the 10. He played like maybe the 2 the first time, and he played the 10. At that point, I did not know what to switch to. So I made an unfortunate switch, did not lead. I could have had a choice of leading one of the other 2 suits. I chose one of them. It turned out to be the wrong one. And so after that hand was over with, I was chatting in the chat box, and I said, oh, wow, I wish I had known you had such and such. And he explained to me, he said, the first card you play when the king is led gives count. Now, if your partner comes on with the second big card, the second card that he played or that you would play would tell your partner's suit preference, which of the other 2 suits. So he had wanted to switch to the higher of the 2 remaining suits, not counting the trump suit. Of course, I did not know that at the time, and of course, I missed it. I don't want to toss that in to get you confused or bothered or upset, but just know that so much is available to you. So many things that you don't even know about now, things that I don't know about. I'm learning at least something new every week that I did not know about. Once you can get all this stuff and assimilate it and use it, recognize the time in the hand when you should use it, your defensive play is going to improve ever so much. Okay, next week we are going to look at third hand play. This would be when your partner has led a suit and you are the third person to play to the trick. So we'll be looking at that next week. So I am going to stop record.